Kathy Schnitzeling on ABC Radio.
Imagine starting your workday, but instead of heading into the office, you head outside to be greeted by an ocean breeze. You get to work with laptop in hand by the beach, sipping on some, fresh coconut juice. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, it's actually the lifestyle some Australians are living right now. They're called digital nomads, and they genuinely do their daily work from anywhere in the world. George Sourrys is one of these digital nomads. I'll let him tell you where he's currently calling from. Hello, George. Where are you?
Hi, Kathy. I'm Koh Phangan in Thailand.
You're in Thailand. How long have you been in Thailand?
I've only actually been here for 5 weeks. I was in Bali beforehand, but I've been digitally nomading since about March last year. It's a very good lifestyle, I have to say.
And what prompted you to become a digital nomad?
Well, basically, I'm a mortgage broker. I've got my own business. And during the pandemic, everything changed for me. I could work from anywhere. The banks no longer cared if I saw clients face-to-face. And I soon realised that clients didn't actually care if they saw me face-to-face either. So I worked from home for a while, and I thought, wouldn't it be great if I could travel the world, but also get ahead financially? And that's exactly what I'm doing at the moment.
So how do you get ahead financially?
Well, basically, Australia is a very expensive place these days. There's no doubt the cost of living is through the roof, especially since the pandemic. So as long as you're living in a country, you're earning Australian dollars, and you're living in a country where it's actually cheaper to live, you're getting ahead. So I'm in Asia at the moment. Asia is really good for digital nomads because, number one, the time zone is very similar. I was in Bali before, which is pretty much the same time zone as Perth. So that works out perfectly. But also, the currency is obviously beneficial for us. So for example, I'm staying in a hotel in Thailand at the moment, and last night I paid $35 Australian, which would be a lot cheaper than I'd pay for rent if I was, say, on the Gold Coast. So basically you can get ahead financially while also having the adventure and working at the same time.
And I guess you're living in another culture, which is something that, many people who aspire to travel want to do.
Exactly. Well, it's not just there's the adventure aspect of it. You're experiencing new cultures and new things and new foods. But there's also the personal growth aspect. Like, for example, if you're living the everyday, lifestyle, you probably won't grow as much as if you're, stepping out of your comfort zones and experiencing new things. And I really find the social aspect of traveling to be a really great thing. Like, obviously, most Westerners here, they're all traveling or here for a certain amount of time, and they're a lot more open than they are back home because they do have that holiday mindset. So it's very, very easy to meet people. It's very sociable, and it's a really fantastic lifestyle.
And are you in like an expat community of digital nomads?
Not really. I mean, that's you can do that very easily because there are Facebook groups where you can join and you can join other expats. I've just found it so easy on this particular place where I am at the moment. It's very sociable. Every day I'm meeting new people, so I found it very easy to meet people. There's also lots of workshops you can do and courses and things you can join in on. So I haven't joined an expat community, but you can definitely do that. Bali obviously has a lot of Australians there. And if you wanted to join up with other Australians, there's also digital nomad groups. You can join up and catch up with them and all discuss business ideas and really bounce off each other and see if you can help each other with your business in some way. I'm a mortgage broker, but there's a lot of digital creators like, influencers and stuff like that in Bali, for example, and they feed off each other. So there's actually chances to improve your businesses too. Now, that being said, the people that are doing digital nomading don't all have their own business. There's people that are also basically PAYGs that are working remotely. I find that would be a little bit difficult to do what I'm doing. I'm basically traveling around to different places all the time. So, in a couple of nights' time, I'll move somewhere else to another hotel somewhere, and sometimes to different locations. I find that because I've got my own business, I can work whatever hours I want. I've got staff. I can always hire more staff. If you're a PAYG and if you're trying to move around and travel around. Well, there's a lot of time spent on that. You have to research where you're going. You have to, sort out visas. You've got to do a lot of stuff like that, which eats into your time. I think people would really struggle if they were, say, doing 8-hour work days and they're trying to move around all the time. I think that'd be very difficult. They're probably better off just staying in the one spot for, 4 months or something, then moving on and doing it like that.
You're listening to ABC Radio. My name is Kathy Schnetzling and I'm speaking to George Sourrys, a digital nomad who's working in Thailand at the moment. Now, George, you've pointed out some of the advantages of the digital nomad lifestyle. You're saving money, you're on the up because it doesn't cost as much to live, and the exchange rate of the Australian currency is pretty good, and you get to move around and go to different places. What are the disadvantages or the downfalls of being in this particular lifestyle and way of work that you have?
Yeah, so there's always ups and downs with everything. Every location you go to, you're going to find that there's positives and there's negatives. Like, Australia is a very good place. I love Australia. So sometimes you miss certain aspects of Australia. You'll also miss things like family and friends in Australia. I'm kind of used to that lifestyle though. I grew up in regional Queensland and the outback, and I went to boarding school when I was 13. So I've often missed, one place at any particular point in time. I either missed school when I was back at home, or I missed home when I was at school. So I'm kind of used to that trade-off. However, some people might find it difficult to be away from family and friends. The other aspect is because you're traveling and you're in different locations, you're going to meet people from all around the world. Now, some of those people will be very transient. So you'll get to know some really great people, you'll connect very strongly, but then a week later that might be gone. So there is constantly an influx of new friends that you're making. And some people might see that as an advantage, some people might see that as a negative.
You mentioned visas. How difficult is it to organise visas to be moving around?
Okay, well, that's the other aspect. I was actually at the immigration office all day yesterday. Some people don't take that into account.
That sounds exotic, doesn't it? You're at the immigration office all day.
Yeah. Not every country is as efficient as Australia, let me just say that. So basically, it can take a long time to do very simple things in some countries. And there's different rules for everything. So you got to be on top of all the rules and what visas you have to get. So that's another negative, is you have to deal with the visa thing. A lot of people, for example, in Bali that I know that are digital nomads, they do visa runs all the time where they have to leave the country and take a flight somewhere or a boat somewhere and then come back just to continue on with their visa, which may only last a couple of months. So that's obviously a cost to take into account as well. So there are going to be unforeseen costs. There's going to be unforeseen time spent on things, and that's why it's not going to be for everyone for sure.
How do you get on with health insurance? Is that something you consider?
Well, I've got travel insurance, so that's another cost. Basically, we don't have, obviously, the Medicare type thing over here. So travel insurance, as long as you've got a comprehensive travel insurance, that should pretty much cover you. But unfortunately, it is an added cost. But if you put it all together, it depends where you go to, right? Like I said, Asia is quite good for Australians. I might continue on to South Africa after you. I might continue on to South America. The time zone won't be as good. And potentially, if you go to certain places, say Europe, it can be expensive. It can be, some countries can be on par with Australia or more expensive. You may not have all the benefits, but of course you do travel the world and you're making money at the same time. So sooner or later, if you want to travel the world, you're going to have to spend money. That's just the way it is.
Just back on visas, are they digital nomad visas that you're working on, or are they tourist visas? I mean, obviously some of them are tourist visas, but some countries offer digital nomad visas.
Exactly. So some countries offer digital nomad, for example, Thailand. Bali, I believe, they have it in the works. I'm not sure if it's come out yet. They're talking. So many countries are talking or putting in place digital nomad visas where you can have 2 to 5 years and things like that, where you can basically
that's quite a long time.
Stay in the one spot. It is a long time, but this is the way of the future, I think. This is the new thing, and like coming from a business point of view, like I used to work in an office. I never liked working in an office. Some people love it. I never did. However, because I have a business, an office cost is an added cost, right? And if I don't need to spend that cost on a bricks and mortar, shop front, well, that's fantastic. That can be saved, and I really think that most stores that can be online or digital, they will be in the future. I think that it's just an added cost. If you don't need a shop front, you don't need one.
Yes, that's something that we were discussing here on ABC Radio yesterday, in fact, where you can be remote first and remote only, which is exactly what you're doing. Now, where are you off to next? You mentioned maybe South Africa.
Well, basically, I'm still working things out. I'm quite a spontaneous traveller. So, for example, I came to Copenhagen. I've been here for a couple of weeks now. I only planned to come for a couple of days, but I really, really enjoyed it, and I'm really enjoying the community here. It's been my favourite place in Thailand so far. So I'm going to stay longer. And so I don't really make exact plans. I'm not a structured traveller. Some people are very, very structured and they plan everything out. I don't like to live that way. I like to be spontaneous. So I can't tell you with any certainty. All I know is that there is a possibility that I said that where I might go to South Africa next. I've always wanted to check that place out. And it's actually cheaper in South Africa too than Australia. So I'm keeping all these things in mind. I'm weighing up things as I go.
Well, it certainly is a way to live. It sounds very adventurous. Thanks for joining us this morning, George.
Thanks, Kathy.
George Sourrys, who's a digital nomad who is living and working in Thailand. Previously, he was in Bali, and who knows where he might turn up next.